Welcome to Old Moon Radio. That's right, you heard me correctly. Old Moon Radio. Ian, we've rebranded from Dead to the Co. Do you want to take a moment to kind of lay out what this rebrand means for us?
Yeah, so we took a little break and we wanted to come back and expand out of reviewing Dead and Co shows and get into a couple more bands we like and more about just like songwriting and folk music in general. So we thought we'd rebrand to have something more inclusive than just Dead and Company shows.
Yep. All right, let's get into the first episode of Old Moon Radio. I'm Chris Barenko here with Ian Mills, and tonight we're diving headfirst into one of the wildest shows so far of 2025, Billy String's Halloween extravaganza at Baltimore CFG Bank Arena. Ian, how's it going, brother?
Going pretty good, our first non-Dead show, and it was a pretty exciting one, a special event.
Let's just set the stage to talk about the show we were just at. The theme was Meet Me at the Crypt, sold out arena near the Inner Harbor, fog pouring over the stage, a string band dressed like classic monsters, crowd of bluegrass fans hollering along to metal riffs. This was a night where the Wolfman himself picked up a Martin D28 and let loose. Pretty sweet, man. I mean, just the overall vibe. We'll get into a little bit into who Billy Strings is for those of you who might not know. We'll keep it surface level, but we'll talk about that in just a moment. But Ian, just the atmosphere of this show was incredible.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's definitely an event. I think a lot of the people that were there, we were there last year for Halloween, so people knew what to expect and knew to dress up. And like a fun theme for the show too, kind of like leaning like the Halloween show is always a special show, but this leaning like even more into Halloween. Saw a lot of cool costumes in the crowd.
Yeah, there were some cool costumes. Ian, you went last year to Billy String's Halloween show in Baltimore. I did not. This was my first Billy Strings show. You've seen him several times now. So you're a much bigger Billy Strings fan than I am. I respect the heck out of him. I like his music, but I just haven't been exposed to him as much as you have. Um, how would you say the overall theme of Meet Me at the Crypt compared to last year's Oh Billy, Where Art Thou?
Yeah, so it is almost like the exact opposite show where like a Billy without Thou followed the most of the soundtrack of the movie, but also like throwing in some of Billy's own songs. So it was pretty ordered. And this one I felt like when maybe we'll go into more detail in a bit, but like was like you didn't know exactly where it was gonna go.
Mm.
So kind of different, but I think it mixed it up in a good way.
Okay, that's very cool to kind of hear the differences between the two. Like you said, last year was a lot of the movie soundtrack. This year was a lot of covers. He was the cover king this night, and we'll talk about. I think we'll run through the set list like we did formally when covering the Den and Company shows. But I might be leaning on you a little bit more because you're more knowledgeable about Billy than I am. For those of you who are more like me and may not be as familiar with Billy Strings, real brief overview. He's a virtuoso bluegrass musician, known for pushing genre boundaries. So you might hear bluegrass and think, oh, he's just playing the music of Doc Watson, David Grisman, etc. While he was heavily influenced by them as a child, he also got into metal and jam bands, probably in his teenage years, if I'm not mistaken. Um, Bands like Widespread Panic, Jimi Hendrix, Fish, The Grateful Dead, and more. So there's a lot of overlap with those bands as well when it comes to his fan base and his music. So he's really genre bending, and he got his name Billy Strings from his aunt who saw his ability on multiple bluegrass instruments. And just to round us out here, get all the exposition out of the way, he's released four studio albums. He's won two Grammy Awards, I believe, for Best Bluegrass Album, most recently in 2025 for a live album. So that's a little bit about Billy Strings. Ian, do you have anything to add there before we get a little more into the show?
No, I think you kind of mentioned it twice. That I don't know exactly what order because he was also playing bluegrass through this, but like he started out in a metal band, so like he's definitely that is like where the sort of genre bend comes in, where he's a very talented and trained bluegrass guitarist, but he also has a lot of like metal inspiration and chops, which leads to some pretty interesting jamming. So yeah, like so one of my favorite artists to go see live, definitely has sort of like a fire with like the band and the crowd that, with Dead and Co. Not really touring as much, definitely picks up some of the that crowd. So
Definitely. But yeah, let's get a little bit deeper into this show. We mentioned Billy was dressed as the Wolfman. Other band members dressed as the Mummy, Frankenstein,
yeah, so
Dracula, Bride
maybe
of Frankenstein.
yeah, so Billy Failing, on banjo, Bride of Frankenstein, Royal Massat on bass, he was Dracula. Jared Walker on mandolin, he was um, he was Frankenstein, and then Alex Hargraves on fiddle, he was the Mummy. Yeah,
Nice. Yeah, you got all the names. That's perfect. So yeah, that was cool that they're all dressed up, different classic monsters. And I guess we can get into it as we get into the set list here, but show followed the different characters. So we start out, I believe we start out with Frankenstein because the first song on the set list is Frankenstein, a
yeah,
cover of the Edgar Winter group. But I believe other bands have played it as well.
yeah. So I think originally Edgar Winter Group, but probably through Fish, who covered this song a lot, was how it came up for Billy.
Right. This was a really electric. I mean, obviously it was electric. He was playing electric guitar, but it was an electric opener. We walked in kind of just as it was going on, and we had trouble finding our seats because the strobe lights were going off. People were howling. This was a really cool way to open the show. High energy, get everyone up on their feet. Just a really, really cool way to start the show.
Yeah, starting out electric. This is definitely like so. This song is instrumental. There's no lyrics. So definitely just start out, jamming with like the chorus of the song is pretty distinct, I think, and yeah, starting out with a bang.
Right. Then we go into Tombstone Blues, the Bob Dylan cover. Jared was on the lead vocals here. And this was, I like this song by Bob Dylan. Um, and I thought it was just a interesting pivot, but Tombstone Blues, obviously, kind of Halloween themed, setting the tone for the rest of the night. There's a lot of that. And yeah, I thought it was a nice way to follow up Frankenstein.
Yeah, definitely going into what we mentioned at the beginning of genre bending and kind of jumping back and forth between a lot of different original artists. Not a song that like I am that familiar from Bob Dylan. But also, sorry, a lot of people have made this connection, so like we're not the first to come up with this. But I think specifically for Frankenstein, these songs and the upcoming songs like follow along like the original, the book and the movie, I guess, as well. So we'll maybe get into that a little bit more for the next couple songs.
Right. We go into a live, which is a Pearl Jam cover. I don't know too much about this song. I don't know too much about Pearl Jam, if I'm being honest. Um, so yeah, I mean, any thoughts on a live by Pearl Jam, I suppose?
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like it's an equally distant jump from the first song to Bob Dylan to Pearl Jam. Like definitely like awesome to see the band kind of have to go to like these different places like in quick succession. Because Pearl Jam to me like obviously one of the best rock bands of all time. Like very distinctive vocals and like heavy guitar riffs. I couldn't remember the name of the song. I never could, but like yeah, like I remember, Pearl Jam just from like how it sounds.
Yeah. Then the stage turned bright red for Red Daisy. Good Billy String song. I really like this song. It's one of the Billy String songs I'm familiar with. Like I said, I'm not as in tune with Billy as you are, as an example. So I was happy they played this, a song that I could finally get a little more familiar with. This is when I started to get a little more into the show because I'm like, oh, I recognize this one, you know. And I thought this was a cool performance of one of his own originals. I think his first original of the night.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. For coming in at the fourth song in the set list is the first Billy String song off of his 2021 album Renewal. I think like probably one of the most pure bluegrass songs that he has. Well, I probably like one of many, but to my mind, like one of the ones that feels like it could be like a bluegrass standard. Super fast, super fun. But again, like for the fourth song in a row now, like I feel like a distinct tonal shift from coming out of Pearl Jam.
hmm We go into Taking Water, again, a Billy String song that I'm familiar with. I really like this song. This is going to expose me maybe as being a novice in the Billy Strings world, but this might be my favorite Billy Strings song. Is that a take that you feel like hardcore Billy Strings fans would be like,
No, I
how's
don't think
Taking
so.
Water?
I mean,
How's
still
Taking
like
Water? Yeah.
it's one of the examples I think of him like where he kind of sits between like very traditional bluegrass where like Red Daisy might fall more into and also getting into maybe more contemporary, a little bit more jammy, but not fully. I think we'll get there on the next song. But yeah, a great song, like one that he's done a couple for like the pace sessions and like the YouTube channels that'll host musicians to do like a song or two. Like this has come up kind of frequently, so I think it is like the band also considers it like one of the staple songs as well.
Okay, cool. We get into Hide and Seek, which is from Renewal 2021, one of Billy's, well, all his records are pretty acclaimed. This is a long song, a lot of improvisation in it,
Yeah,
some mandolin riffs, some full band interplay. Pretty cool song, one that I was not super familiar with, but I thought it was pretty neat.
yeah. This one is one that's probably one of the most recurring jam songs. That it goes pretty far. It reminds me. And only we will know this, but like that one bird song we had at Bristow years ago, where like we were just in bird song for 20 minutes, and every time we thought we were moving on to the next song, they would just do another verse or something. That's what I felt like this hide and seek. Like it seemed to go on forever, like in a good way. That they really kind of took their time, and each member got to explore a little bit, kind of leading the jam. I'm only looking at the studio version time, which is like pretty long at like almost 10 minutes. Are you looking at the Nug set list? Do you know how long this one was?
I just had it up. Let me try and go back to it, but I think it
Because
was
I mean, I would
somewhere
say I don't know
around
if
there.
it's over under 20 minutes, but I'd say be pushing it.
Yeah, I don't think it's up on Nugs for some reason. But okay, we go into Jimi Hendrix next, which was pretty
Wait, hold
cool.
on, I got it. It's
Oh, you do?
13 minutes, so not as long, but like there's a longer one coming up, and we'll get there too.
Yes. If I'm not mistaken, this next one, the Jimi Hendrix tune Fire, that was a little bit quicker. How long do you have that one for?
4 minutes
Yeah, okay,
from the show.
that's what I
Which is still
thought.
like an extension. It's a quick song as well from off of um sorry uh off
Jimi
of
Hendrix
Are You
Experience.
Experienced?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Are you experienced? Yeah.
Um,
Um,
a little under 3 minutes.
yeah, some funk, some blues, some psychedelic rock. Um, I'm not sure what guitar Billy was playing during this song, but he was playing his PRS electric for a lot of the night. I
Yeah, I
assume
think
that,
it was his PRS.
yeah, that was pretty cool. Though I think one of the cool things about Billy Strings that some people might not realize if you're a little more like me and less familiar is that what he can do on his acoustic guitar, like the way he bends and plays his acoustic guitar makes it sound like an electric a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's like one of the coolest things about his shows is just seeing him shred on an acoustic. That's just so different than what you're used to seeing. I think you told me he's like one of the only artists you feel that can pull that off, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of really talented guitarists that could,
Yeah, yeah.
but the way he gets his acoustic guitar to like bend and draw out notes, like especially in a live setting, like I don't know, I haven't heard a lot of guitarists that can do it the way he does. Specifically
Yes.
coming from an acoustic, which kind of like allows for the more jammy themes that his band does. Kind
Yes.
of it's like for a lot of acoustic guitars when you're playing through the pickup, like it sounds like a little off compared to an electric guitar just from the acoustics of the body, obviously, in the sound hole. And the way his sounds like to me is pretty unique.
Right. We go from fire into, I believe, the end of this Frankenstein themed, not a set, but I don't know how to describe it. I guess you could say it's a set,
Like
but
like oh yeah, for this like section, I guess. Yeah.
section, yeah,
I'd say
section
that
of the
this is sort of
show.
like the palate cleanser, I guess.
Right. So we go into like a interlude by the Charm City Coven, which I'd assume are local musicians from Baltimore.
I don't believe they are. So it's
Oh,
Adele
really?
Stein, Celia Haddon, and Adriana Maleo. I don't know. Who I don't know if they're from Baltimore or
Okay, I
not.
just assumed because of the name Charm City, I should have looked into it, but um,
But
that's
they
why you never make
could be fair. I
assumptions.
don't know.
Yeah. And we kick off the mummy, not the money.
Okay. Are you not gonna mention? So what they were playing was Swan Lake by Tchaikovsky, where Vince Herman of Leftover Salmon came out in a ballerina costume and was doing like a little ballerina routine off through the floor for a long time, well, a lot longer than I'd be able to do it, to be honest. Because I forget exactly where Leftover Salmon were playing. Um, that they were playing the same two nights that Billy was in town, and obviously they're related. So they're at Nevermore Hall, which is formerly Rams Head, in downtown
Oh,
Baltimore. So they got to sneak out, and then they'll come back a little later in the set too.
right. I didn't realize Ram's Head was renamed. That's interesting. We go into the mummy's bracelet. Uh, this was a little spooky. I thought it was a lot of fun. I think that the mummy section may have been, well, no, that's probably the Wolfman section was my favorite of the night, but the mummy section was up there for me. I thought this was a lot of fun and this was a good way to kick it off. It says it's a Lee Ross cover. I'm showing my
Yeah,
lack of knowledge, but I'm not too familiar with Lee Ross.
this is like the classic like Halloween old album. I don't know when it came out. Um, yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, just like kind of like a Halloween song that leads into the this new section centered around Alex.
Right. And then we go into Arabia, and this is where our old friend Jerry Garcia, David Grisman cover. Um, was that an original by Garcia and Grisman? I'm trying to do a little research on the spot here. Well,
I want to say it was.
hmm looks like it is. Um, so yeah, pretty cool that Billy's taking us back to a little bit of those dead roots. But I will say Arabia sounds nothing like the Grateful Dead, in my opinion, because it's not the
Yeah,
Grateful Dead. But,
yeah.
you
So
know,
it, Jerry Garcia, David Grisman, The Dog, off their one of their kind of acoustic albums in the early '90s.
do you have the set or the runtime for this song on the during the show?
Yeah, so it was 20 minutes, 54 seconds. Um, Royal Massat was incredible on this song. They kind of rearranged it a little bit. Sort of like the bass solo section from like the three quarters way through the studio song kind of started at the beginning and then came back in its normal spot. Um,
Was this
kind of,
the long bass solo that?
yeah.
Yeah.
that he
Okay.
started with it, which is in the studio recording off the Garcia Grisman album is like it. He played that in the right section too, but he kind of did it twice. Like a slow start coming out of the Mummy's Bracelet, a little longer than the studio recording too. Really, really cool song. Uh, Feels like they're all over the place right now during the set list. They've kind of gone in every direction they could.
Yeah. We go into Ain't No Grave, Brother Claude, Eli. Jeez, I should know some of this. I feel like cover, but I recognize "Ain't No Grave" by Johnny Cash.
Yeah,
Um,
so this is a song that is sort of like a African American spiritual song. Most people know through the Johnny Cash cover, kind of American traditional.
right, and another good, obviously, "Ain't No Grave Can Hold My Body Down" a bit, um, reference to Halloween again, um, and then we go into a pretty cool song that he's playing in Baltimore, "Way Down in the Hole," Tom Waits cover. And that's the theme to The Wire, which I have not seen. So I can't speak much on it, but I do know that that's the theme to The Wire. I was reading about that, of course, when reading about the show. And Baltimore native Chris Jacobs joined, well, he was playing throughout the night, but
Yeah,
he helped
yeah, he
sing
took the
this
lead on the
song.
song
Right.
as the Invisible Man, which like that looked like a really hard costume to sing with. Like he was struggling with those bandages the entire time.
Noticed
I
that.
noticed in the second set he came out, he took everything off, so which has probably felt a lot better for his
Oh,
voice.
I didn't even realize he had everything off, but I did see him struggling with it during this. Um, that's funny. And then we close out the first set. Long. Well, I guess the second set was probably longer, but these sets are longer. It seemed like than like Dead and Company shows, and
I
uh,
mean, it was a little the first set was about like hour and a half, like about what it normally would be um,
right.
for a Demco show, and then we'll maybe talk a little bit more. The second set
Maybe,
was a little longer just because of Halloween, but yeah.
yeah, maybe he just fit more songs in, so it seemed longer. But Mother's Only Sleeping, Bill Monroe and the Bluegrass Boys cover, um, and then they changed the lyrics to Mummies. Was it Mummies
Mummy's
Only
not dead.
Sleeping? Mummies
Mummy,
Not
yeah,
Dead.
like the mummy. Sort of rounding out the mummy section.
Yeah, pretty cool. Any
Yeah.
thoughts on this performance here?
No, just I always like how they can integrate all these bluegrass tunes into the set list, and obviously like they're all bluegrass guys. They probably came to mind and kind of knew how to fit in the theme.
Right. Okay, so then we go into intermission, and I just want to take this moment to talk about the poster from the show, um, which was designed. Oh man, I just had it. I think it was Luke Martin. Um, Luke Martin. This poster that I'm looking at now, definitely look it up if you haven't seen it. This was a really cool poster. We didn't get to get it because the merch lines are crazy long and it's sold out already online. But just taking a moment to recognize the poster for the show was pretty sweet. Overall, first set was pretty cool, Frankenstein mummy theme. And then we start the second set with this was where we get Dracula theme, correct? Or was this Bride of
Um,
Frankenstein?
it was Dracula.
Okay. Um, So we start with At the Inn. Well, the Charm City Coven played a cool like string section over intermission, which was cool. Um, but we start with At the End and Run for Your Life, which is are they both Beatles songs?
I actually didn't see at the end until I pulled up the Nug set list, so I'm
Hmm.
not sure.
Okay. Well, Run for Your Life, the Beatles song. This was Royal was singing the lead vocals. Um, and this was kind of like a haunted house type uh, backdrop.
I'm trying to think of um, the relation to the theme. like Frankenstein, I think all of them kind of sequentially work. I don't really know much about the Mummy to speak on the end of set one. I'm thinking like the start of Dracula is the lawyer guy from England being in Dracula's castle, so maybe that works for Run for Your Life. But then into like you were gonna say the Wreck of Edmund Fitzgerald, which is obviously about the meter going to from Romania to England.
Yeah, wait. You're actually in the middle of reading Dracula
Almost
page
at
per
the
day.
end, like at 5 more days, I think, because I'm doing it per day of the book. Yeah.
Do you want to start a Dracula podcast next, where we just talk about Dracula?
I don't know. I don't know if there's anything new to say about Dracula.
The Wreck of Edmund Fitzgerald was awesome. Um, Gordon Lightfoot cover,
I
recognizable
mean, it's
tune.
gonna be a classic. Any room you're in. Um, he's played it a couple times, at least one other time. I don't know if it's more than once.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, great song. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything else I can add to that.
Yeah, no. Into Blood Sucking Friends, Green Sky, Bluegrass. Is it Green Ski? I've never known. Green Ski or Green Sky?
I keep forgetting.
Okay.
I always think Green Sky because I that's
Feel
how I.
free to leave a review and tell me
Yeah,
I'm
another
pronouncing
one
everything
where
wrong.
Billy was open for them early in his career, and they're close. So it's cool to see him do a cover. Another show that we'll have to hit sometime when they come through town.
Yeah, man. I'm definitely down. Um, into Highway Hypnosis. Um, this I am just gonna tell you now. I don't have a ton on. Um, yeah.
Yeah, so like I think kind of similar to Hide and Seek, its role as a Billy String song, like definitely more jammy, like definitely psychedelic. Gets really drawn out. Uh, Kind of just drones, like very like keep saying the same notes and phrases over and over again. Um, I don't know. Not to get, I won't get any more into the plot of Dracula than I already have. I have a couple ideas, but I'm not exactly sure how this relates to Dracula, if at all.
We go into one of the cooler crescendos of the night, which was War Pigs, a Black Sabbath cover. We got them plugged back in on the electrics. Um, we got the organ going a little crazy. This was a pretty cool song, kind of showing Billy's like metal side a little bit.
Yeah, so Billy, like huge Ozzy fan. Um, he's done this song, I believe, one other time. I was trying to look up.
I think it may
I
have
thought it was
been
one.
2022 in a Halloween show. I think I may have read that.
Yeah, yeah, I remember it being another Halloween show. I don't know if that's the only other time he's done it. I always thought it was more because he's definitely said that he's a huge Ozzy guy. Great song. Bats, the bat confetti falling down from the ceiling. Billy, I don't think was playing a guitar for this. I think he was just singing, which is kind of rare, if I remember correctly. But yeah, super, especially like, and there's going to be a couple more in this set, but like getting Wreck of Edmund Fitzgerald and More Pigs was pretty cool to see.
Yes. Um, we go into a Dracula Wolfman theme by the Charm City Coven, and then three songs that I was able to recognize. Woohoo! I'm back in the game. We got "You Got a Friend in Me," which was quite the twist, quite the turn in the night. Um, he definitely wasn't playing guitar in this one. I know that. He was just singing. But this was fun.
Yeah,
Randy Newman cover, of course.
yeah. I don't know what the connection with this with anything.
Did feel
I
kind of
think,
random.
yeah, it did feel kind of random. But also it kind of coming down off of like the heavy War Pigs into like a little interlude, string interlude before this, and then you got a frenzy was kind of, I don't know, I didn't expect it at this show.
Yeah, I didn't expect it either. But then we go into, oh, that's weird. This is Black Magic Woman. I could have sworn. I always thought this was Santana. Why does it say Fleetwood Mac cover? Should I know that?
I don't know. I think it's just Santana.
Yeah, why does it say Fleetwood Mac on this? Oh, wow. Yeah, wait. The song appeared on a Fleetwood Mac. Wait, what? No, it is written by British musician Peter Green, which appeared as a single for his band Fleetwood Mac in 1968. And then in 1970, the song was released from Santana's album Abraxas. So, wow, I never knew Black Magic Woman was originally a Fleetwood Mac song. You learn something new every day.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
So this was awesome. Again, I could recognize it, so I was plugged back into the game, plugged back in the game here on the podcast. But a fun highlight of the night, and then unless you have anything to add on that, we go back to tongue in cheek a little bit with "Love" by Nat King Cole or Love.
Yeah, so kind of, I don't know why. I guess so. This comes from the reason why they did this was that they had um, uh, uh, the Frankenstein and the Bride of Frankenstein. I don't know if this was like their plan from the beginning, or they just kind of realized like this is something that they would do. It's like kind of funny, I guess. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, so as you were saying, the Frankenstein and the Bride of Frankenstein both sang this song, trading off verses.
Yeah,
Um, so that was kind of funny. And then we go into Dealing Despair with the bass plugged back in here. I had some notes. Let me try and find them. I lost it. Um, this is a Billy original, and
yep,
it kind of puts the bass a little front and center.
yeah. I mean, I think Roma was just great tonight. On electric bass this time, doing that a little bit more this show than probably normal.
Right.
And uh, the first one, I guess this is the last Billy song of the night too, which is kind of funny to
Oh,
realize we had so much more left.
wow. I didn't even realize that. We have a whole another section of the show left. All right, we get into the last section of the show, which was my favorite, which is the Wolfman. Probably my favorite because it was centered around Billy and his costume as the Wolfman.
Hmm.
We start with the Wolfman theme played by Charm City Coven, and then we go into a more renowned Billy Strings song. Well, it's from his album Home, which won a Grammy.
Yep.
So, like you said, the last Billy Strings song of the night, last
Yeah,
original.
title track from Home. I'm trying to think of the connection to Wolfman. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, yeah, last Billy song of the night, and then we kind of get into a little bit more Wolf themed songs after.
Yeah, this next one was my favorite song of the night, Wolfman's Brother. At this point in the show, my back was killing me, so I had to take a seat. But I was listening intently. And weirdly enough, when I was sitting, I was actually more some to what like in tune with the music because I wasn't thinking about how
Thinking about your
uncomfortable
back.
my back was. So I actually really enjoyed Wolfman's Brother, even though I was taking a seat. Fish cover and
Yep.
Fish, made an appearance a little bit earlier with Frankenstein. Of course, that's not an original song by them, but popularized maybe by them. So Wolfman's Brother, a lot of fun. If you're going to look up a song from tonight on YouTube, I would definitely recommend this one. I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, really cool to see Fish get like you said, like two appearances here. Um, yeah, like at this point, I don't have like the full timing, but this is like already 2 hours into the second set, I believe, around. So yeah,
Yes.
a super long time. But here out, it gets turned up to 10. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, next we get a really interesting song choice because he's covering a modern artist. Um, I guess Fish is modern, but you know what I mean, contemporary of his. And that would be Tyler Childers with Bitin' List.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, pretty neat that he's playing a Tyler Childers song here. Definitely not expect it. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, not even contemporary artists, just like a very new song off of Tyler Chowder's album that came out this year, Snipe Hunter. Um, I think easy to get to from the Wolfman. Um, and yeah, it's really cool to see. I didn't pick up on this till after. I listened to the album when it came out, but I didn't know. I don't remember it too well. So it was only after the show I realized that it was the Tyler Childers song.
Yeah. Neither did I. And that's cool that it was released this year. I didn't know that. That's really, it's kind of crazy actually. um, we go into Bite and or sorry, not, we just talked about that. We go into Little Red Riding Hood. This was a little more doo-woppy, a little more playful. Obviously, very on tune with the Big Bad Wolf theme. This is Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs cover.
Yeah, so like mid '60s rock and roll, and I will know I've had this song on my Halloween playlist for basically the entire time I've had my Spotify account for like I don't know 8 or 9 years. So I didn't know this song before the show. Um, yeah, kind of like a funny song to do. Like it's like very like the mid '60s. You think like kind of like even when it's not surf rock, it has kind of like the surf rock vibes. So like the kind of like elongated arpeggios and like kind of like the jazz master kind of like metallic sound. Um, kind of like slow like building lyrics. I don't know. It's a fun song. Like it's kind of cheesy, I guess.
Yeah,
But I don't know. It like kind of like uh Mummy's Bracelet and you know the song we're gonna end on. I don't know. It's just fun to do on Halloween.
definitely. And then the late great Ozzy Osbourne gets another nod his way here with Bark at the Moon. Obviously on theme still. This was a metal song. Pretty big way to end out the set. Um, I will note, I don't know if it was during this song, but I do want to just note the organist. Shoot, I should know his
Corey
name.
Henry.
Corey Henry. I had Henry, but I didn't have his first name. He was awesome all night and really just opened my eyes. You know, seeing a live show, you pick up on the talent of a lot of the musicians, but he really stood out to me.
Yeah, I think really it's sort of hard to play like accompany Billy Strings band just like playing with not always a bluegrass sound, but at least a bluegrass setup. It can be hard to play like something like an organ in a string band, especially with drums added in and a second guitar. I thought he really killed it. He had a great connection with Billy, like and the entire band of exchanging different riffs and melodies throughout the night. I think he was just playing organ too, right? Which I don't think like often, especially with like the Dead and like associated larger bands that do have keys player. I normally have like keys and then also the organ on the side. Like I think he just had two organs.
Okay,
Like
I didn't
he was
notice.
fully doing it
Yeah,
the entire time, which I thought was pretty cool.
yeah, really, really cool. Um, So yeah, not just we'll get into the encores in a moment, but overall the two sets, it wasn't just a concert; it was theater. It was really cool. There was a narrative to it. We had the Charm City Coven, we had the ballerina on stage. We had everything. So it was a really cool way to structure the show. But we get into the encores, and I think we looked at each other. I know we looked at each other when they started playing this next one. I had a feeling it was coming. Werewolves of London, the Warren Zevon cover that has been covered by many, many other artists. I think of also The Dead playing it around Halloween shows because they're who I listen to a lot. But this was awesome.
Yeah, like, and we were talking about this coming back from the show. Like, "Where Was the London?" I think is like truly like one of my 10 out of 10 songs. I don't really know why. I just think it's like the perfect amount of like musically interesting. The lyrics are like interesting and kind of like silly without being like completely farcical. I don't know. Like I love the song whenever it happens. And like I said the night too, like when Little Red Riding Hood happened, I was like, oh, we're probably not going to get Werewolves of London. Like it felt like that was the spot for it. So to come back out, not only with the extended band with Corey Henry, and we also should shout out the drummer Alan Robinson,
Hmm.
and then obviously Chris Jacobs, who we mentioned before, who were there the entire night. And
Right.
they're coming out with most of Leftover Salmon, I believe, not all the band members, but I should shout out Vince Herman, who came out earlier, Greg Garrison, Andy Thorne, Drew Emmett, and Jay Starling. So it might have been all of Leftover Salmon for the encore was really cool too. Definitely a full stage.
Yeah. That was awesome. And then we go into more of a lighthearted way to end the night, which is Monster Mash. And oh my goodness, I totally set myself up on this one. We were out at dinner before the show, having a good time. And Steph said, something about like playing Halloween songs, like maybe what songs would they play? And I was like, well, they're not going to play like Monster Mash or anything. And then, of course, I end up playing Monster Mash. So I totally set myself up on that one. But this was a lot of fun. And we all know Monster Mash.
Yeah, I mean, like a song you've heard a million times every Halloween. Um, like a great to sort of tack on at the end that everyone was already so like it's like pushing midnight at this point and everyone's all kind of like tired and loose, and then to have this end was like a pretty fun ending to the show, and really
Absolutely.
as is obvious for Meet Me at the Crypt.
Right. So that was Meet Me at the Crypt. Ian, where would you say in terms of Billy's Halloween shows? I know we spoke a little bit about last year versus this year and their differences, but Meet Me at the Crypt as a performance, where would you say this ranks in Billy's pantheon of now infamous Halloween shows?
I don't know. There's only been a couple, and they've all been, to his credit, like very, very different. I mean, I think it's always fun on Halloween to kind of lean into the holiday and do kind of like the classic vampire, mummy sort of thing. It like as you can see from the set list, it gave opportunity to do a lot of really cool covers in a setting that like Billy's band doesn't really do as much in, to do like metal, kind of American traditional, obviously some bluegrass mixed in, both like older and contemporary rock. Like I don't know, like it's definitely like it gave him a wide platform to do a lot of really cool covers tonight.
Definitely. It was definitely a cover heavy night, and I think it worked out really well. You know, for my first Billy Strings show, it's a unique experience. I loved it, but I feel like I need to still see a Billy Strings show. Like I feel like I still haven't seen Billy Strings live almost.
Yeah, and a cool opportunity to do like a little late Halloween episode to come back for the pod.
Absolutely. We're back. We're heading a different direction, as we mentioned, expanding our horizons a bit. So we're going to come to this next episode with a different artist that we're going to be talking about. So stay tuned on that. And thank you for tuning back in and not leaving us when we took a little bit off, a little time off in the summer there.
Yeah, thanks for watching.